Introduction Summary. Hidden Potential. Adam Grant. In the introduction to Hidden Potential, Adam Grant lays out the central premise of the book. The commonly held belief that success mainly comes from innate talent is wrong. Instead, potential is something that can be cultivated through learning, character, and a willingness to grow. Grant challenges the traditional focus on early success, natural ability, and standout performance. He explains that we tend to admire people who start strong, but we overlook how far people who start ordinary can travel through deliberate effort and supportive environments. Redefining potential. Grant argues that potential isn't about having exceptional ability at the outset. It's about how far you can climb, how effectively you can learn, and how much you grow over time. Learning over talent. What makes people succeed is not just effort, but how well they learn. By seeking out challenges, absorbing useful information, adapting it to their goals, and responding to feedback. Character and growth. Traits like perseverance, curiosity, adaptability, and resilience, what Grant calls character skills, are often better predictors of future success than early indicators of ability. Opportunity and systems. Beyond individual effort, systems such as schools, workplaces, and teams shape who gets to fulfill their potential. Grant introduces the idea that we can design environments to widen opportunity rather than limit it. Real-life stories. The introduction uses vivid examples, like an underdog chess team winning a national title, to show how progress and potential play out in real life, emphasizing grit and growth over raw talent. Bottom line of the introduction. Potential isn't fixed. What matters most isn't where you start. It's the distance you travel and how you grow along the way. Prologue. Growing roses from concrete. The core metaphor. Adam Grant opens the book with a powerful image. A rose growing through cracked concrete. The rose is not special because it was planted in perfect soil. It's remarkable because it thrived in an environment that should have crushed it. This metaphor sets the tone for the entire book. Hidden potential is not about starting with advantages. It's about growing despite constraints. 1. Challenging the myth of natural talent. The prologue begins by confronting one of society's most deeply held beliefs. Success belongs to the naturally gifted. Grant argues that this belief is not only wrong, but harmful. Why the talent myth is dangerous. It causes us to overestimate early performers. It leads us to give up on late bloomers. It discourages effort in people who don't see themselves as naturally talented. It reinforces inequality by rewarding those who start ahead. We mistake early advantage for inherent ability. Grant reframes the question, not who is the best, but who improves the most. 2. Potential is distance traveled, not starting point. One of the most important ideas introduced in the prologue. Potential equals how far you can go, not how good you are now. Grant explains that early performance measures current ability. Potential measures capacity for growth. Someone who starts at level 2 and reaches level 8 has more potential than someone who starts at level 7 and reaches level 8. But our systems, schools, companies, competitions rarely reward growth. They reward polish, speed, and early wins. 3. The underdog story, why it matters. Grant introduces real-life stories of people and teams who were initially overlooked, underestimated, or written off. One such story, used to frame the book, involves underdogs who lacked resources, had little prior success, were not seen as naturals, yet they succeeded by learning faster, supporting one another, embracing discomfort, persisting longer than others. These stories are not exceptions. They are evidence that the rules we believe in are flawed. 4. Growth requires friction, not comfort. The concrete in the metaphor matters. Concrete represents scarcity, failure, poor systems, limited opportunity, skepticism, and doubt. Grant explains that growth often happens because of resistance, not in the absence of it. People who develop hidden potential tend to seek challenge, lean into difficulty, treat struggle as information, not a verdict on ability. Comfort does not stretch us. Friction does. 5. Character skills over cognitive skills. Another major idea introduced in the prologue is the distinction between cognitive skills, IQ, test scores, raw intelligence, speed of comprehension, character skills, grit, discipline, curiosity, proactiveness, resilience, coachability. Grant argues that character skills are better predictors of long-term success, especially in changing environments. Why? Intelligence gets you started. Character keeps you growing. 6. The role of environment and systems. Grant makes it clear that hidden potential is not just personal. Roses don't grow alone, they grow in systems. The prologue emphasizes that. Schools, workplaces, families, cultures either crush potential or cultivate it. When systems reward learning instead of performance, encourage experimentation, allow room for mistakes, more people get the chance to grow. Hidden potential exists everywhere, but opportunity does not. 7. Why we miss hidden potential. Grant explains why society consistently fails to spot it. We value confidence over competence. We reward speed over depth. We confuse polish with promise. We select people who look right instead of those who are improving fastest. As a result, late bloomers are ignored. Non-traditional learners are excluded. People from disadvantaged backgrounds are underestimated. 8. The promise of the book. The prologue ends by setting expectations for the rest of hidden potential. Grant promises to show how individuals can unlock their own growth, how leaders can design environments that elevate others, how educators and organizations can stop wasting human potential. The book is not about becoming exceptional overnight. It is about becoming better than you were yesterday, consistently. Final message of the prologue. Potential is not a gift bestowed at birth. It is a capacity developed over time. Anyone can grow roses, even in concrete. Chapter 1. Creatures of Discomfort. The central idea. Growth does not happen in comfort. It happens when we deliberately place ourselves in discomfort. Adam Grant begins this chapter by challenging another deeply held belief. If you're good at something, it should feel natural. Grant flips this idea on its head. The people who grow the most are not those who feel comfortable. They are those who intentionally seek discomfort. 1. Why comfort is the enemy of growth. Humans are wired to avoid pain, seek ease, stick to what feels familiar. This wiring kept our ancestors alive. But in modern life, it stalls learning. The comfort trap. When we stay comfortable, we repeat what we already know. We stop stretching our skills. We mistake fluency for mastery. We confuse ease with excellence. Grant explains that comfort is feedback, but not the kind we want. If it feels easy, you're probably not growing. 2. The biology of discomfort. Grant draws on neuroscience to explain why discomfort is so powerful. Learning happens at the edge. When we're slightly uncomfortable, our attention sharpens. Our brains release chemicals linked to learning. We become more receptive to feedback. Too much discomfort causes panic. Too little causes stagnation. The sweet spot is productive discomfort. This is the zone where you struggle but don't shut down. You fail but don't quit. You feel stretched, not broken. 3. Deliberate practice versus mindless repetition. Grant distinguishes between doing something repeatedly, practicing it deliberately. Most people repeat what they're already good at. High growers do the opposite. What deliberate practice looks like: focusing on weaknesses, not strengths, slowing down instead of rushing, seeking feedback instead of praise, breaking skills into uncomfortable pieces. It's mentally exhausting. It's emotionally bruising. That's why most people avoid it. 4. Becoming a creature of discomfort. Grant introduces a powerful identity shift. Don't see discomfort as a threat. See it as a habitat. People with hidden potential. Reframe anxiety as a sign of learning. Interpret failure as data. Normalize embarrassment as part of progress. They don't wait to feel ready. They move before comfort arrives. 5. The power of reframing struggle. A key point in this chapter is how we interpret discomfort. 2 mindsets. Discomfort equals I'm not good at this. Discomfort equals I'm getting better. The feeling is the same. The meaning is different. Grant shows that when people reframe discomfort as growth, they persist longer. They learn faster. They perform better under pressure. Discomfort stops being a warning sign and becomes a progress indicator. 6. Confidence follows action, not the other way around. One of the most counterintuitive lessons. You don't get confident then act. You act then get confident. Waiting to feel confident keeps people stuck. Those who grow start awkward. Accept imperfection. Learn in public. Improve through exposure. Confidence is not a prerequisite. It is a byproduct. 7. Why talent often loses to effortful learners. Grant explains why naturals often plateau. When something comes easily, they don't build learning muscles. They avoid situations that expose weakness. They struggle when difficulty finally arrives. Meanwhile, effortful learners are used to struggle. Develop resilience early. Build feedback tolerance. Keep improving while others stall. Discomfort trains durability. 8. Designing discomfort on purpose. This chapter isn't about suffering randomly. Grant emphasizes intentional discomfort, how high growers design it. Choose tasks just beyond current ability. Set challenges with clear feedback. Create accountability for stretching. Practice in low-stakes environments before high-stakes ones. They don't wait for discomfort to find them. They schedule it. 9. Social discomfort, the hidden accelerator. Grant also highlights interpersonal discomfort, asking for feedback, admitting ignorance, challenging authority, speaking up early. These moments feel risky, but they accelerate learning, trust, respect, growth. Avoiding social discomfort may protect ego, but it limits potential. 10. The chapter's deeper message. Chapter 1 is not telling you to be miserable, burn out, constantly stress yourself. It's telling you to stop confusing comfort with competence. The people who fulfill their potential don't chase ease. Don't fear struggle. Don't wait to feel ready. They become creatures of discomfort. Final takeaway. Discomfort is not a signal to stop. It is a signal that learning is underway. Chapter 2. Human sponges. The central idea. The fastest learners are not the smartest. They are the most absorbent. Adam Grant reframes learning as a skill in itself. Hidden potential doesn't come from knowing more at the start. It comes from soaking up information relentlessly and effectively. 1. Why intelligence is overrated and learning is undervalued. Grant begins by challenging another myth. Smart people learn faster. In reality, intelligence helps with comprehension, but learning depends on behavior, not brainpower. Many intelligent people stop asking questions, rely on intuition, defend what they already know. Meanwhile, high growers act like sponges. Curious, humble, open to correction, hungry for insight. 2. Learning requires humility. A key trait of human sponges is intellectual humility. They believe, I might be wrong. I don't know yet. There's more to learn. Grant explains that humility keeps curiosity alive, lowers defensiveness, increases openness to feedback. Arrogance repels information. Humility absorbs it. 3. Asking better questions, not more answers. Human sponges don't try to sound smart. They try to get smart. They ask, why does this work? What am I missing? How would you approach this? What would you do differently? Grant shows that the quality of learning depends more on the quality of questions than on answers. Good questions reveal blind spots, invite mentorship, trigger deeper thinking. 4. Feedback is fuel, not a threat. Most people fear feedback. Human sponges seek it. Grant explains why feedback is uncomfortable. It threatens self-image. It highlights flaws. It creates uncertainty. But human sponges reframe feedback as a shortcut to improvement, a map of blind spots, a gift, not an attack. They don't ask, how did I do? They ask, what should I work on next? 5. Learning from people, not just content. Grant emphasizes that the richest learning comes from other humans, not just books or courses. Human sponges. Observe experts closely. Study how people think, not just what they do. Learn from peers, not only authorities. Extract lessons, even from failure. They treat every interaction as a classroom. 6. Copying before creating. One surprising idea in this chapter. Imitation is not the enemy of originality. It's the pathway to it. Human sponges. Copy proven methods first. Learn the rules deeply. Internalize patterns. Then innovate. Grant explains that premature originality leads to shallow mastery. Absorb first. Create later. 7. The power of mental models. Human sponges don't just collect facts. They collect mental models, frameworks that explain why things work. Examples: cause and effect relationships, decision rules, principles that transfer across situations. Mental models allow learners to adapt knowledge, apply skills flexibly, solve new problems faster. 8. Learning how to learn. A central theme of this chapter is meta-learning, learning about learning. Human sponges reflect on what helps them remember, how they recover from mistakes, which strategies accelerate progress. They experiment with spaced repetition, teaching others, testing themselves, interleaving skills. They don't just practice, they optimize practice. 9. Turning failure into information. Failure is inevitable. The difference is how people respond to it. Human sponges analyze mistakes without shame, extract lessons quickly, adjust strategies, try again with better data. Failure becomes information, not identity. 10. Curiosity as a habit, not a trait. Grant argues curiosity is trained, not inherited. Human sponges read beyond their field, explore unfamiliar domains, follow questions down rabbit holes, connect ideas across disciplines. Curiosity keeps learning elastic and alive. 11. Why experience alone is not enough. Grant cautions against a common mistake. I have years of experience. Experience without reflection leads to repeated mistakes. Human sponges pause to reflect. Ask what worked and why. Adjust mental models. Learn faster than time alone would allow. Final message of the chapter. Potential grows in people who stay absorbent. The most successful people never assume they've arrived. Never stop asking. Never stop absorbing. They're not just learners. They are human sponges. Key takeaways. Intelligence helps. Humility transforms. Feedback accelerates growth. Learning from others multiplies progress. Absorption precedes innovation. Chapter 3. The Imperfectionists. The central idea. Progress beats perfection. Growth belongs to those willing to be imperfect in public. Adam Grant argues that many people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they wait too long to start. Imperfectionists grow faster because they act sooner, learn earlier, and iterate relentlessly. 1. The perfectionism trap. Grant begins by redefining perfectionism. Perfectionism is not high standards, care about quality, pride in good work. Perfectionism is fear of mistakes, fear of judgment, fear of looking incompetent. It creates paralysis. People delay submitting work, sharing ideas, starting projects, trying new skills. They mistake polish for progress. 2. Why perfectionism blocks learning. Learning requires exposure, but perfectionism avoids feedback, hides weaknesses, prevents iteration, delays data. Grant explains, you can't improve what you don't reveal. Imperfect action generates information. Perfect planning generates excuses. 3. The advantage of starting before you're ready. Imperfectionists understand something crucial. The first version is supposed to be bad. They ship drafts, test ideas early, practice in public, learn while doing. Early action shrinks fear, normalizes mistakes, accelerates feedback loops. Waiting for readiness is a losing strategy. Readiness is created by action. 4. Quantity leads to quality. Grant draws on research showing that people who produce more output often produce better output. Why? More attempts equals more learning. More mistakes equals more data. More reps equals faster refinement. Imperfectionists don't obsess over each attempt. They obsess over showing up consistently. 5. Separating identity from output. A core insight of the chapter. Mistakes are events, not verdicts. Perfectionists internalize failure. I failed becomes I am a failure. Imperfectionists externalize it. That didn't work, yet. This psychological distance reduces shame, encourages experimentation, protects motivation. They critique the work, not themselves. 6. Learning in public and why it works. Grant emphasizes the power of visible learning. Imperfectionists share unfinished work, ask for input early, practice openly, normalize growth. Public learning builds accountability, attracts mentors, speeds correction, reduces fear through exposure. Hiding slows growth. Visibility accelerates it. 7. The courage to be seen trying. The chapter highlights a subtle truth. It takes more courage to be seen learning than to be seen succeeding. Imperfectionists accept awkward beginnings, clumsy first attempts, visible struggle. They choose progress over pride. 8. Reframing mistakes as experiments. Imperfectionists don't see mistakes as failures. They see them as tests, trials, prototypes. Grant shows how reframing lowers emotional stakes, encourages risk-taking, makes learning safer. Experiments can't fail, they only produce results. 9. Systems that reward imperfection. Grant zooms out to systems again. Healthy environments reward effort and learning, encourage iteration, normalize revision, celebrate improvement. Unhealthy systems punish mistakes, overvalue first impressions, discourage risk, reward image over growth. Hidden potential flourishes where imperfection is safe. 10. Imperfection as a competitive advantage. In fast-changing worlds, perfect plans become obsolete. Early action wins. Adaptability beats precision. Imperfectionists move faster, learn sooner, adjust earlier, outgrow perfectionists. They don't wait to be flawless. They get better in motion. Final message of the chapter. You don't need to be great to start. You need to start to become great. Imperfectionists unlock hidden potential by acting early, sharing often, learning publicly, iterating relentlessly. Key takeaways. Perfectionism is fear in disguise. Action creates clarity. Volume accelerates mastery. Progress thrives in imperfection. Chapter 4. Transforming the daily grind. The central idea. Hidden potential is built in ordinary moments. What matters most is not intensity, but consistency. Adam Grant shows that people who grow the most don't rely on motivation or inspiration. They engineer their daily grind, so learning and improvement happen almost automatically. 1. Why big goals fail without small systems. Grant starts by dismantling a common mistake. If my goal is big enough, I'll stay motivated. Motivation is unreliable. Willpower is limited. Life is messy. People who unlock hidden potential don't depend on motivation. They depend on systems. Systems versus goals. Goals point direction. Systems drive progress. A great system reduces friction, creates momentum, makes growth repeatable. 2. Turning practice into a habit. Grant explains that improvement accelerates when practice becomes predictable, scheduled, automatic. Instead of asking, do I feel like practicing today? High growers ask, when is my practice slot? They remove choice, and choice removes excuses. 3. Making hard things easier to start. The biggest barrier to growth is often starting, not continuing. Grant highlights strategies people use to lower the activation energy. Prepare tools in advance. Break tasks into tiny steps. Use rituals to begin. Start with warm-ups, not performance. Momentum beats motivation. 4. The power of tiny gains. Grant emphasizes marginal improvement. Tiny daily gains. Compound quietly. Feel insignificant. Produce massive long-term results. People underestimate what small progress does over time and overestimate what bursts of effort can do. The grind works because it compounds. 5. Repetition without boredom. Doing the same thing every day sounds dull. High growers avoid stagnation by rotating challenges, increasing difficulty gradually, Changing context. Tracking progress. The grind becomes engaging, not exhausting. 6. Feedback loops in daily work. Grant explains that daily work improves faster when feedback is frequent, specific, actionable. People who transform their grind build feedback into routines. Review performance regularly. Adjust daily, not yearly. No feedback equals no growth. 7. Energy management over time management. Grant reframes productivity. It's not about how much time you have. It's about when you use your energy. High growers. Schedule hard work when energy is highest. Protect focus from distraction. Respect rest as part of performance. They don't grind blindly. They grind intelligently. 8. Turning mundane work into mastery. Not all work is exciting. Grant shows how people extract growth from routine tasks by setting micro goals, practicing sub-skills, competing with past performance, treating repetition as refinement. The grind becomes a training ground. 9. Designing environments that support the grind. Environment beats intention. High growers shape surroundings. Reduce distractions. Make tools visible. Embed cues for practice. Create accountability structures. They don't rely on self-control. They rely on design. 10. Why consistency beats talent. Grant reinforces a recurring theme. Talent sets the ceiling. Consistency determines how close you get. Many talented people practice inconsistently, rely on bursts, plateau early. Less talented but consistent people improve steadily, close gaps, often surpass early stars. Final message of the chapter. The daily grind is not an obstacle to greatness. It is the path to it. Hidden potential is revealed when practice is habitual, effort is systemized, improvement is daily, progress compounds. Key takeaways. Systems beat motivation. Small gains compound. Daily feedback accelerates growth. Environment shapes behavior. Chapter 5. Getting unstuck. The central idea. Plateaus are not signs of failure. They are signals that your current strategy has stopped working. Adam Grant reframes being stuck as a normal and necessary stage of progress, not a personal flaw. Growth is not linear. It comes in spurts, separated by stalls. 1. Why progress eventually slows. Grant begins by explaining why most people hit plateaus. Early gains come quickly. Basic skills improve fast. Feedback is obvious at the start, but over time, easy improvements are exhausted. Mistakes become subtler. Progress becomes harder to detect. This creates the illusion, I'm not improving anymore. In reality, you're facing a higher level of difficulty. 2. The plateau trap. When people get stuck, they usually respond in one of 3 unhelpful ways. Quit, assuming they lack talent. Grind harder, repeating the same approach. Blame themselves, losing confidence. Grant argues that plateaus don't require more effort. They require different effort. 3. The power of changing the game. High growers don't just push harder. They change the rules of practice. When stuck, they modify constraints, increase specificity, alter the environment, switch perspectives. If progress stalls, it's not about motivation. It's about strategy. 4. Zooming in, breaking skills down further. Grant explains that plateaus often happen because skills are too broadly defined. Example, get better at writing, improve at leadership, be stronger at math. High growers zoom in. Sentence openings, transition clarity, listening before responding, specific problem types, smaller targets create, clearer feedback, faster correction, renewed momentum. 5. Slowing down to speed up. One counterintuitive strategy Grant highlights. When stuck, slow down. People often rush to escape discomfort, but slowing down allows deeper attention, error detection, skill refinement. Experts practice slowly because precision precedes speed. Accuracy unlocks advancement. Speed returns later, stronger. 6. The role of coaches and outsiders. When self-correction fails, external perspective matters. Grant emphasizes coaches, mentors, teachers, peers. They see blind spots you miss, patterns you normalize, errors you've grown used to. Being stuck alone is harder. Growth accelerates with guided feedback. 7. Switching between performance and practice. Grant distinguishes two modes. Performance mode. Focus on outcomes. Minimize mistakes. Deliver results. Practice mode. Focus on learning. Allow mistakes. Experiment freely. People get stuck when they stay in performance mode too long. Never return to safe practice. Breaking plateaus requires permission to practice again. 8. Redefining success during plateaus. Grant encourages redefining progress when visible gains slow. Instead of asking, "Am I winning?" ask, "Am I learning something new?" Success during plateaus becomes improved technique, better understanding, increased consistency, fewer repeated mistakes. Invisible progress precedes visible breakthroughs. 9. Emotional resilience while stuck. Being stuck tests identity. Grant highlights the emotional skills required. Patience, self-compassion, persistence without panic. People who grow normalize frustration, expect plateaus, stay engaged without immediate reward. They don't interpret stuckness as a verdict. 10. Breakthroughs are often delayed. Grant closes with an important reassurance. Growth is often happening beneath the surface, like roots before leaves, like strength before speed, like understanding before expression. Breakthroughs feel sudden, but they're built during quiet persistence. Final message of the chapter. Being stuck is not a sign to stop. It's a sign to change how you practice. Hidden potential is unlocked by those who diagnose plateaus, adjust strategies, seek feedback, stay patient. Key takeaways. Plateaus are normal. Effort must evolve. Strategy beats intensity. Breakthroughs lag behind learning. Chapter 6. Defying gravity. The central idea. Talent may start the climb, but support systems defy gravity. Adam Grant explains that hidden potential is often unlocked not by solo brilliance, but by networks, mentors, peers, and communities that reduce the weight holding people down. Gravity represents self-doubt, limited resources, social barriers, structural inequality, isolation. To rise higher, people need uplift. 1. Why individual effort is not enough. Grant confronts the myth of the self-made success. Behind nearly every breakthrough is a teacher who believed early, a mentor who opened a door, a peer who shared knowledge, a sponsor who took a risk. Effort matters, but effort multiplied by support matters more. 2. The power of belief from others. One of the most powerful forces in human development. Someone else's belief in you before you believe in yourself. Grant shows that when people are encouraged, taken seriously, given responsibility, they often rise to meet expectations. Low expectations create ceilings. High expectations create lift. 3. Mentors, sponsors, and coaches, not the same thing. Grant clarifies critical distinctions. Mentors offer advice, share wisdom, help you think. Coaches improve specific skills, give feedback, diagnose weaknesses. Sponsors advocate for you, create opportunities, put their reputation on the line. People who defy gravity often have all three or learn how to seek them intentionally. 4. Peer effects, growing together. Grant emphasizes the underestimated power of peers. Peers normalize struggle, share strategies, raise standards, create accountability. When surrounded by learners, growth becomes contagious. Effort feels normal. Excellence feels attainable. You don't need to be the smartest in the room. You need to be in a room that's learning. 5. Psychological safety enables lift. People can't rise if they're afraid of falling. Grant highlights environments with permission to ask questions, freedom to make mistakes, respect for effort, protection from ridicule. These environments encourage risk-taking, accelerate learning, reduce fear. Safety doesn't weaken standards. It strengthens growth. 6. Removing friction, not adding pressure. Many leaders try to motivate by adding pressure. Grant argues the opposite. Growth improves faster when we remove barriers than when we increase demands. Examples of friction: lack of access, unclear expectations, biased evaluations, poor feedback. When friction is reduced, talent travels farther. Effort pays off sooner. More people rise. 7. Paying it forward, becoming lift for others. Defying gravity isn't just about receiving support. It's about giving it. Grant shows that people who lift others reinforce their own learning, build stronger networks, create cultures of growth. Teaching, mentoring, and advocating clarify understanding, multiply impact, strengthen communities. 8. The compounding effect of support. Support compounds just like practice. Early help prevents discouragement, builds confidence, keeps people in the game. Late support can't always undo early exclusion. That's why equitable systems matter. 9. Why potential is often unevenly distributed. Grant doesn't ignore inequality. He emphasizes talent is widespread. Opportunity is not. Hidden potential is lost when support is scarce. Gatekeepers rely on narrow signals. Systems reward privilege over progress. Defying gravity requires changing systems, not just individuals. 10. What it really means to rise. The chapter closes with a redefinition of success. Rising isn't about standing above others. It's about rising with others. The strongest climbers pull others up, build ladders, strengthen the rope. Final message of the chapter. Hidden potential grows fastest in environments where people lift one another. No one escapes gravity alone, but together we rise. Key takeaways. Support multiplies effort. Belief creates lift. Mentorship opens doors. Peer learning accelerates growth. Removing barriers beats adding pressure. Chapter 7. Every child gets ahead. The central idea. Potential is universal. Opportunity is not. Adam Grant argues that society wastes enormous amounts of human potential, not because children lack ability, but because our systems sort, label, and limit them too early. This chapter is about equity as a growth strategy, not charity. 1. The problem with early sorting. Grant begins by criticizing how schools and institutions often track students early, label kids as gifted or average, treat early performance as destiny. The problem? Early performance reflects home environment, access to resources, prior exposure, support systems, not raw potential. Once labels stick, expectations change, opportunities shrink, confidence erodes. Sorting becomes self-fulfilling prophecy. 2. Why late bloomers are systematically overlooked. Grant emphasizes that children develop at different speeds. Growth is uneven and nonlinear. Many abilities emerge late, yet systems favor early talkers, fast readers, confident performers. Late bloomers don't lack potential. They lack time and patience from the system. 3. The power of high expectations for everyone. One of the most important ideas in the chapter. Expecting less teaches children to deliver less. Grant highlights research showing that when teachers expect growth from all students, standards are high, but support is strong. Effort is praised over ability. Students rise. High expectations without support cause stress. Support without expectations causes stagnation. Growth happens when both exist together. 4. Teaching character skills early. Grant returns to character skills. Grit, curiosity, self-control, perseverance, responsibility. These skills predict long-term success, can be taught, compound over time. Schools often emphasize test scores instead. Grant argues, teaching children how to learn matters more than what they memorize. 5. Learning over ranking. Grant critiques grading systems that rank students against one another, reward speed over mastery, penalize mistakes harshly. These systems discourage risk-taking, create fear of failure, reduce intrinsic motivation. Alternative approaches focus on progress, revision, mastery, feedback. Learning thrives when ranking fades into the background. 6. giving struggling students better teachers, not easier work. A powerful reversal Grant highlights. The students who struggle most often get the least experienced teachers and watered-down material. This widens gaps instead of closing them. High potential systems. Give the best teachers to the greatest needs. Maintain high standards. Increase support, not lower expectations. 7. Belonging before achievement. Grant emphasizes the role of belonging. Children learn better when they feel seen, valued, safe, included. When kids feel they don't belong, effort drops, risk-taking stops, potential withers. Belonging is not soft. It's foundational. 8. Designing schools for growth, not selection. Grant challenges the idea that schools should identify talent. Instead, schools should develop talent, expand opportunity, reduce early elimination. The goal is not to find the best kids, but to help every child become better than they were. 9. What every child gets ahead really means. Grant is clear. This doesn't mean everyone gets the same outcome. It means everyone gets access, everyone gets support, everyone gets time to grow, everyone gets belief. Fairness is not sameness. Fairness is giving people what they need to improve. 10. Why this matters beyond school. Grant closes by connecting education to society. When systems waste potential, inequality grows, innovation slows, talent is lost forever. When systems cultivate growth, economies strengthen, communities thrive, human dignity expands. Helping every child get ahead is not idealism. It's practical progress. Final message of the chapter. The question is not whether children have potential. The question is whether our systems allow it to emerge. Hidden potential flourishes when labels loosen, expectations rise, support expands, belief becomes universal. Key takeaways. Early labels limit late growth. Potential develops at different speeds. Character skills matter more than early scores. Equity accelerates excellence. Belonging fuels learning. Chapter 8. Mining for gold. The central idea. Talent is widely distributed. Opportunity and recognition are not. Adam Grant argues that most systems fail not at developing talent, but at detecting it. Like gold buried underground, potential often lies beneath rough surfaces, unconventional paths, and non-traditional signals. 1. Why we miss gold in plain sight. Grant begins by exposing how we typically search for talent. Elite schools, prestigious credentials, polished resumes, early achievements. These are proxies, not proof. They signal access, not ability. Exposure, not growth. As a result, vast amounts of potential remain unseen and untapped. 2. The problem with narrow filters. Hiring, admissions, and promotions often rely on test scores, pedigree, confidence, familiar profiles. Grant explains that these filters, favor privilege, penalize late bloomers, exclude unconventional learners, overlook resilience and growth. When filters are narrow, we mine the same shallow ground and miss deeper veins of gold. 3. Shifting from signals to samples. One of the most important ideas in this chapter. Stop predicting potential. Start sampling it. Instead of asking, where did you go to school? How impressive is your resume? High-growth systems ask, can you do the work? How do you learn? How do you improve with feedback? Work samples, trials, auditions, and simulations reveal real capability, not just credentials. 4. Looking for growth trajectories, not snapshots. Grant urges leaders to evaluate slopes, not scores. A snapshot shows where someone is now. A trajectory shows how fast they're improving, how they respond to challenge, whether momentum is rising. People with steep growth curves often surpass early stars over time. 5. Unearthing gold in unexpected places. Grant shares examples of organizations that recruited from overlooked communities, hired based on skill tests instead of degrees, promoted based on learning agility. They discovered exceptional performers, loyal contributors, rapid learners. The goal was always there. It just required digging differently. 6. Reducing bias in talent detection. Grant highlights unconscious biases that distort judgment, favoring familiarity, confusing confidence with competence, overvaluing polish, penalizing non-traditional paths. Mining for gold requires structured evaluation, clear criteria, multiple assessors, awareness of bias. Without structure, bias fills the gaps. 7. Potential predictors that matter more than pedigree. Grant identifies better indicators of future success. Coachability, curiosity, persistence, responsiveness to feedback, learning speed. These traits are harder to spot, but far more valuable. They indicate capacity to grow, not just current skill. 8. Creating second chances and on-ramps. Many people miss early opportunities. Grant argues that strong systems offer re-entry points, provide bridge programs, allow redemption, recognize growth over time. Late bloomers need longer runways, not locked doors. 9. Mining is ongoing, not one time. Talent detection is not a single decision. Grant emphasizes continuous evaluation, developmental assessment, openness to reclassification. People change, skills grow, potential evolves. Systems must stay flexible. 10. Becoming a gold miner yourself. The chapter closes with a personal challenge. Grant asks readers to rethink how they judge others, look past surface signals, give people chances to prove themselves, advocate for overlooked talent. Mining for gold is a responsibility, not just a strategy. Final message of the chapter. Hidden potential is everywhere. We just have to learn how to find it. Gold isn't rare. Good mining is. Key takeaways. Credentials are poor proxies for potential. Growth trajectories matter more than snapshots. Sampling beats predicting. Bias hides talent. Opportunity reveals it. Chapter 9. Diamonds in the rough. The central idea. Potential often looks unimpressive at first. What matters is whether we are willing to polish it. Adam Grant explains that many people who have enormous potential are unpolished, inexperienced, awkward, inconsistent, unconventional. They don't shine immediately, and that's exactly why they're overlooked. 1. Why we reject rough talent. Grant begins by exposing a common bias. We prefer talent that arrives finished. Polished people speak confidently, fit expectations, look ready, require less patience. Rough talent makes mistakes, lacks refinement, needs coaching, challenges norms. Most systems choose polish over promise and lose long-term value. 2. Potential needs protection before pressure. Diamonds form under pressure, but only after they're stable. Grant explains that early overexposure can damage confidence, trigger burnout, reinforce self-doubt, push people out. High-growth environments shield learners early, allow safe mistakes, increase pressure gradually, match challenges to readiness. Timing matters. 3. Coaching is the polishing process. Raw talent doesn't self-polish. Grant highlights the role of great coaches who see beyond flaws, focus on fundamentals, give precise feedback, stay patient through setbacks. Polishing is slow, repetitive, often invisible, but it transforms roughness into brilliance. 4. Separating behavior from ability. Rough diamonds may communicate poorly, break rules, appear disengaged, clash with norms. Grant warns against mistaking these for lack of ability. Wise developers ask, what skill is missing? What support is needed? What context would help this person thrive? They correct behavior without dismissing potential. 5. Allowing nonlinear development. Grant reinforces that growth is uneven. Diamonds don't polish evenly. Some facets shine early. Others lag behind. Progress comes in spurts. High-growth systems tolerate inconsistency. Track long-term progress. Don't overreact to dips. They judge trajectories, not moments. 6. Belonging protects fragile potential. Grant emphasizes that people polish faster when they feel they belong. Belonging reduces defensiveness, increases persistence, encourages risk-taking, supports identity growth. Without belonging, rough diamonds fracture. Self-doubt hardens. Talent erodes. Psychological safety isn't softness, it's structural support. 7. Turning struggles into strengths. Many rough diamonds develop resilience early. Learn adaptability. Gain perspective. Build grit. Grant shows that struggle can become an asset if it's framed as growth, not failure. The same roughness that repels can later differentiate. 8. The cost of giving up too early. Grant highlights the tragedy of lost potential. Students written off, employees sidelined, creators discouraged, leaders never developed. Most failures happen before people reach their peak. Patience is a competitive advantage. 9. Becoming a polisher, not just a selector. Grant challenges readers to rethink their roles. Don't just select talent, develop it. This means investing time, offering feedback, advocating upward, creating room to grow. True leaders don't just find diamonds, they polish them. 10. Redefining excellence. The chapter closes by redefining what excellence looks like. Not instant brilliance, not flawless performance, but steady improvement, resilience under pressure, growth over time, shine earned through effort. Final message of the chapter. The most valuable diamonds are rarely perfect at first glance. They're made, not found. Hidden potential survives and shines when roughness is tolerated, coaching is consistent, belonging is real, growth is protected. Key takeaways. Polish beats polish ready. Potential needs time and protection. Coaching unlocks brilliance. Belonging accelerates development. Patience paye dividend. Epilogue. Going the distance. The central idea. Hidden potential is not about winning early. It's about sustaining growth over a lifetime. Adam Grant closes the book by shifting focus from breakthroughs to endurance, from how people rise to how they keep going. True success is not a sprint. It's a long, evolving journey. 1. Why longevity matters more than speed. Grant revisits a theme from the opening chapters. Early success is seductive, but fragile. People who peak early often rely on talent instead of learning. Stop seeking feedback. Avoid discomfort once they made it. Plateau or burnout. Those who go the distance. Keep learning. Adapt as conditions change. Rebuild skills repeatedly. Stay curious even when accomplished. Growth is not about getting ahead. It's about staying in the game. 2. Reframing success as continuous becoming. Grant offers a quiet but powerful redefinition. Success is not a destination. It is a direction. People who sustain growth measure progress internally, not comparatively. Compete with their past selves. Redefine goals as life evolves. They don't ask, have I arrived? They ask, who am I becoming? 3. The importance of reinvention. Grant emphasizes that long-term growth requires letting go of old identities, updating skills, adapting to change. What got you here may not get you further. Those who go the distance are willing to be beginners again. Accept temporary incompetence. Learn new games when old ones change. Reinvention is not failure. It is renewal. 4. Sustaining motivation without burnout. Grant acknowledges that constant striving can exhaust people. Endless pressure kills joy. Burnout erodes potential. Long-term growers balance ambition with rest. Protect meaning, not just performance. Find purpose beyond status. They don't grind endlessly. They pace themselves. 5. The role of purpose and contribution. Grant highlights a shift that often occurs over time. Early motivation is self-focused. Lasting motivation becomes other-focused. People who sustain success mentor others, build institutions, create opportunities, leave systems better than they found them. Contribution becomes fuel. Helping others grow, extend your own journey. 6. Carrying the lessons forward. The epilogue reflects back on the book's core principles. Seek discomfort. Stay absorbent. Act imperfectly. Build systems. Change strategies when stuck. Lift others. Expand opportunity. Find and polish hidden talent. These aren't phases. They are lifelong practices. 7. What going the distance really means. Grant closes with a grounded truth. Going the distance doesn't mean constant upward motion. It includes detours, plateaus, restarts, rebuilding, renewed purpose. A meaningful life is not linear. It is resilient. Final message of the epilogue. Hidden potential is never fully realized because growth never truly ends. The goal is not to prove your worth once. The goal is to keep learning, keep contributing, keep becoming, year after year. The book's ultimate takeaway. Potential is not what you have. It is what you continue to do with what you have. Those who go the distance embrace growth over glory, progress over perfection, meaning over medals. And in doing so, they live fuller, more impactful lives.